You exercise. You eat clean. You read every label, track every meal, and still, that belly fat won't move. You've been told it's about discipline, about trying harder, about wanting it more. But here's the truth nobody in the fitness world wants to say out loud. Discipline isn't your problem. Your mornings are. Japan has one of the lowest obesity rates in the developed world, and they eat white rice every single day. They're not running harder than you. They're not starving themselves. What they figured out decades ago, while the Western world was obsessed with calories and cardio, is something far more fundamental. The hormonal environment of your first 60 minutes after waking decides whether your body burns fat all day or stores it. Get that window right, and everything else starts working. Get it wrong, and nothing else matters. In this video, you're going to learn the exact 5-step protocol that fixes your morning cortisol response and unlocks fat burning for the rest of the day. No supplements, no overhaul of your entire lifestyle, just a precise sequence of simple actions, starting the moment you open your eyes. And the strangest part, once you understand what's actually happening inside your body every morning, you'll never look at your alarm clock the same way again. You wake up every morning and you do the work. You cut the carbs, you hit the gym, you read the labels. You're doing everything the health world tells you to do. And yet, that stubborn layer of fat around your belly just sits there, completely unbothered. Here's the part nobody tells you. The problem isn't your workout, your meal plan, or your discipline. The problem is your first 60 minutes. Right now, before you even touch your coffee or your phone, your body is running a silent biological program. And depending on what you do in that window, it's deciding whether to burn fat all day long or lock it in place. That first hour after waking is the most powerful metabolic moment of your entire day. Most people sleepwalk through it, rushing, scrolling, stressing, and hand over that window without knowing it. What you're about to learn isn't a new diet. It's not another supplement. It's a complete reset of the 1 hour that controls everything else. Here's what's actually happening inside your body every morning, and why it's working against you. The moment you open your eyes, your brain triggers a powerful hormonal surge called the cortisol awakening response. It's designed to flood your system with energy, sharpen your focus, and prepare you to move. In a healthy body, this surge rises, peaks, and then drops smoothly. And during that drop, your body burns fat. That's the window. That's the prize. But here's where it goes wrong. In Japan, researchers have a term for what happens when that natural rhythm gets disrupted. Asa no midare, morning hormonal chaos. When you grab your phone the second you wake up, when you rush straight to caffeine, when you skip hydration and jump straight into stress, your brain reads that as a threat signal. The cortisol doesn't drop, it stays elevated. And elevated cortisol doesn't burn fat. It stores it, specifically in the visceral tissue deep in your abdomen, which is packed with stress receptors just waiting for that signal. The cruel irony is that you can eat clean all day, train hard 3 times a week, and still be fighting a losing battle, because your mornings are overriding everything else. The enemy isn't your diet. It isn't your genetics. It's a hormonal environment that got hijacked before you ever took your first bite of the day. And the good news? It's completely fixable, with 5 specific steps, starting the moment you wake up. Step 1. The solar switch, the light cortisol axis. Most people think morning light is just about mood. It isn't. Deep inside your brain sits a structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your body's master clock, and it has one job: read the light signal and calibrate every hormone that follows. When natural sunlight hits your retinas within the first 10 minutes after waking, it triggers a clean, controlled cortisol peak. That peak rises, does its job, and then falls exactly the way it's supposed to. And that falling curve, that's your fat-burning window opening up. Here's what goes wrong when you skip it. Without that light signal, your cortisol curve stays flat and confused, elevated when it should be dropping, sluggish when it should be rising. Your metabolism never gets the start command. You feel tired but wired, and your body stays in a low-grade stress state for hours without you even realizing it. No amount of clean eating can fully compensate for a hormonal rhythm that never got calibrated in the first place. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Within the first 10 minutes of waking, step outside, or stand by an open window, and let natural light reach your eyes for at least 5 minutes. No sunglasses, no screens as a substitute, just real light, real signal, real response. You don't need a sunny day. Overcast light still works. This single habit sets your cortisol on the right track and starts unlocking your body's fat-burning potential before you've done anything else. Light first, everything follows. Step 2. The double spike trap, the cortisol-insulin collision. Here's something your breakfast routine may be doing to you that no one has explained clearly. In the first 30 minutes after waking, your cortisol is still elevated from that morning surge. That's normal. That's the peak doing its job. But the moment you eat, your body releases insulin to handle the incoming food. Now you have two powerful hormones spiking at the same time, cortisol and insulin, and that combination sends one very clear message to your fat cells: hold on to everything. Cortisol alone signals your body to preserve stored energy. Insulin alone promotes fat storage. Together, in that early morning window, they create a metabolic collision that essentially puts a lock on your visceral fat and throws away the key. It doesn't matter if your breakfast is a green smoothie or a bowl of oatmeal. The timing is the problem, not just the food. Eating too early short-circuits the very fat-burning window your cortisol curve was just beginning to open. The solution isn't skipping breakfast forever. It's waiting. Push your first meal to at least 60 to 90 minutes after waking. Let your cortisol peak naturally, begin its descent, and allow that fat-burning curve to run its course uninterrupted. Drink water, get your light exposure, move gently, but hold off on food. Your body is already doing the work in that window. All you have to do is not get in the way. Don't eat the window. Use it. Step 3. The adenosine clearance window. The caffeine timing effect. You probably think your morning coffee is giving you energy. It isn't. Not really. What caffeine actually does is block adenosine, the chemical your brain builds up during sleep to make you feel drowsy. When you drink coffee the moment you wake up, you're not eliminating that adenosine. You're just putting a lid on it. And the second the caffeine wears off, usually 2 to 3 hours later, all that adenosine floods back at once. That's the crash. That's the fog. And that crash triggers a fresh spike of cortisol, pulling your body right back into stress mode and fat storage. Here's what makes this step powerful. When you wait 90 minutes before your first coffee, something important happens. Your body naturally clears that adenosine on its own. Your cortisol follows its proper arc, peaks cleanly, and begins its controlled descent. By the time you drink your coffee, your brain is already awake, the adenosine is gone, and the caffeine amplifies a system that's already working, instead of masking one that isn't. The energy is steadier, the focus is sharper, and your cortisol isn't being yanked in the wrong direction. 90 minutes sounds like a long time when you're used to reaching for the coffee maker with your eyes still half shut. But start with just 30 minutes and build from there. Use that window for hydration, light exposure, and a gentle walk. By the time your coffee hits, your metabolism is already in motion, your cortisol is descending, and your fat-burning window is wide open. You're not delaying the good stuff. You're making it better. Wait longer. Burn stronger. Step 4. The cold curve, cold thermogenesis, and morning cortisol shaping. Most people think of cold exposure as something extreme. Ice baths, polar plunges, the kind of thing that requires serious mental preparation. But the mechanism that makes cold so powerful in the morning has nothing to do with suffering. It has everything to do with precision. When your skin detects a brief drop in temperature shortly after waking, your body releases a sharp, clean burst of norepinephrine, a hormone that simultaneously sharpens the cortisol curve and activates a specialized tissue called brown adipose fat, or brown fat. Unlike regular fat, brown fat doesn't store energy. It burns it, generating heat for hours after the exposure ends. Here's why the timing matters so much. That brief cold signal in the morning acts like a tuning fork for your hormonal rhythm. It sharpens the cortisol peak, making it rise cleanly and fall faster, which means your fat-burning window opens wider and closes sooner. Exactly the way a healthy metabolic cycle should work. A cortisol curve that peaks hard and drops fast is a fat-burning machine. A cortisol curve that stays flat and elevated all day is the opposite. Cold in the morning is one of the fastest ways to push it in the right direction. You don't need an ice bath. At the end of your morning shower, turn the water to cold for just 30 to 60 seconds. Cool enough to feel the shock, not cold enough to be dangerous. Focus it on your neck, upper back, and chest, where brown fat concentration is highest. That's it. 30 seconds of discomfort in exchange for hours of elevated metabolism and a cortisol curve that works for you instead of against you. A little cold, a lot of burn. Step 5. The forward flow effect, the movement cortisol modulation. There's a reason intense morning workouts sometimes leave you feeling more wired than energized. When cortisol is already elevated from the awakening response, high-intensity exercise piles more stress on top of an already stressed system, and your body responds by holding on to fat, not releasing it. The fix isn't working harder, it's working smarter. And in the morning, the smartest movement you can do is also the simplest one. Walk. Not sprint. Not circuit train. Walk. Here's the science behind why it works so well. When you move forward through space, when the world flows past your eyes in that natural, rhythmic way, your brain's amygdala, the center that processes fear and threat, begins to quiet down. This is called the optic flow effect, and it's deeply wired into your nervous system. Forward movement has signaled safety since the beginning of human evolution. Less perceived threat means less cortisol. Less cortisol means your body stops protecting its fat stores and starts releasing them as fuel. 10 minutes of easy walking does what an hour of stress cannot. It tells your nervous system that everything is fine. Step outside within the first hour of waking and walk at a pace where you could hold a conversation but would genuinely prefer not to. Keep it to 10 or 15 minutes. Let your eyes take in the moving environment. Don't stare at your phone. This isn't a workout. It's a hormonal reset, disguised as a stroll. Pair it with your morning light exposure, and you're hitting 2 steps at once. Cortisol dropping, circadian rhythm aligning, fat burning window fully open. The body you want is already in motion. Move gently, burn deeply. This is your complete Japanese morning cortisol fix protocol. 5 steps, 0 supplements, and a total investment of less than 90 minutes every morning. Step 1. The moment you wake up, don't touch your phone. Reach for a glass of water at room temperature, with a pinch of sea salt and a few drops of lemon. Rehydrate, restore your minerals, and send your nervous system its first signal of safety. Step 2. Within 10 minutes of waking, get outside and let natural light reach your eyes for at least 5 minutes. No sunglasses, no screens. Set your master clock and let your cortisol curve begin its clean, controlled arc. Step 3. Hold off on food for at least 60 to 90 minutes. Let cortisol peak naturally and begin its descent without triggering an insulin collision. Your body is already burning fat in that window. Don't interrupt it. Step 4. At the end of your morning shower, finish with 30 to 60 seconds of cold water on your neck, chest, and upper back. Sharpen that cortisol curve, activate your brown fat, and keep your metabolism elevated for hours. Step 5. Take a 10 to 15 minute easy walk outside. Forward movement, optic flow, nervous system calm, cortisol dropping exactly the way it should. Then, and only then 90 minutes after waking, enjoy your coffee. By that point your adenosine is cleared, your cortisol is descending, your fat-burning window is fully open, and the caffeine amplifies a system that's already working beautifully. 5 steps, no gym required, no expensive protocol, just the right sequence at the right time. Every single morning, your body already knows how to burn fat. You just stop getting in its way. Start tomorrow morning. If you feel like your body is constantly stuck in alert mode, with poor sleep, fatigue, untimely hunger, and stubborn abdominal fat, I've prepared the complete cortisol reset bundle. Inside, you'll receive the main guide, the cortisol reset, plus 2 bonuses, low nighttime cortisol protocol and cortisol, insulin, and abdominal fat. The link is in the description.